Hello, my friends, and welcome back to lesson number 25. And today's lesson is going to be about tell signs, or what signs to look for, and your own tell signs and all of that stuff. So what's a tell sign? Basically, in boxing, before you punch or before you do something, a lot of fighters give off signs or signals they're about to do something. And I'm going to talk about those and kind of tell you how to look for them a little bit better, and how to hide your own and how to use them to your own advantage, and so on. Okay, I'll give you a classic example of a tell sign, which is, okay, a lot of fighters you might see, they hit their gloves together and then they punch. A lot of fighters, you see them like tying up their face before they throw a right hand, or really start tensing up with that left hand before they punch. So these are all tell signs. The eyes, I'm looking where I'm going to hit, so I'm looking at your head, right, before I throw my right hand. And all those are tell signs. Now, we're going to talk about the different tell signs and how to look for them and how, yeah. First of all is shadow boxing in front of the mirror. You seeing yourself firsthand fighting or shadow boxing is going to tell you your own tell signs, all right? Now, the best way to learn about someone else is to learn about yourself. So what that means is, if you're shadowboxing in the mirror and you see every time you jab, you shake your hand a couple times before you jab because you're thinking about the jab, so your thought process is going into the jab before you actually jab, that's a tell sign that you're about to jab. Or before you throw a left hook, you're getting low here and your face is getting tense before you throw the left hook. Or if you're going to the body, you're looking at the body, anything like that, is shadow box in front of the mirror and pay attention to these little details about yourself. And in front of the mirror, eventually you want to be as calm as possible and just, now I talked about moving your hands around. That's not a tell sign if you're doing it the same way. But a tell sign is where you're like still and you start moving something you're about to punch, right? But if you're always moving, it's not a tell sign because that's just you. But a thing I like to do in the mirror is find my stance, my eyes. Okay? Learn how to throw every punch without prepping it, okay? Every punch should be already prepped in your stance. So from this stance, I should be able to throw the uppercut, the lead uppercut, the right hand, the left hook, the jab, without prepping it, okay? So a lot of fighters, or not a lot of fighters, but a lot of beginners, before they throw the right hand, they might hold their hand up here before they throw it because they think it feels better. Before they throw the uppercut, they're going to drop their hand. Before they throw the left hook, they're going to drop their hand, right? So from your stance, you should be able to throw every single punch from your hands up, or this position, boom, 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 right? Try to work on in front of the mirror, throwing every single punch without showing that you're thinking about it. And I'll tell you guys what that means. A lot of times when we're thinking about doing something, especially boxing, if I'm thinking about throwing the jab, my thought process is going to show in my body. So you want to be able to think in your head, but not show it in your hands or your feet. Okay, I'm thinking about throwing the left hook, right? I'm thinking about throwing the left hook. I'm not showing that I'm thinking about throwing the left hook. I just look like I'm just not even thinking at all, but I am thinking. And if you could tell, I'm moving my feet a little bit closer to my opponent. And then I come in with the left hook, right? So I'm not showing that thought process that's going into my left hook. This is what it looks like when you're thinking. Okay, now look at the other difference. Okay, so that's the difference between showing your thinking and not showing your thinking, all right? So that's the first thing I want to talk about, is you got to do that and learn that in front of your mirror and see yourself, right? Now in the beginning, you're going to have a lot of tell signs, especially if you're a beginner. And that's really good because when you become an expert, or not an expert, when you become advanced, you can start noticing those same things you notice about yourself in other people that you fight or spar, and it makes it easier to read what they're going to do because it's going to take you back to when you first started, right? So that's why I say it's always better to learn more about yourself first and then learn about other people. The second tip I'm going to give you, if you want to really learn how to read opponents, is start holding pads. Help your coach out with beginners in the gym. Ask them if you could hold pads. And while you're holding pads, when you tell them to jab, this is how I learned really well how to read fighters. Before this, when I was fighting and boxing, I didn't really know how to read opponents that good. When I became a coach and I started holding pads a lot, when I could tell, when I told them to throw a right hand, how those little twitches in them, or their eyes move, or they might shift a little bit more weight on the right side of their body, but you start seeing little telltale signs that they're about to throw the right hand. Because you told them to throw the right hand, you know it's coming, and you start watching for that. When you tell them to throw like a 1-2, you'll see maybe they stand up a little bit taller. Boom, boom. So hold pads for beginners and just study them. Call out the combinations. Don't think too much about the combinations. Think about just watching their chest, watching their feet. When you tell them to step in with the jab, watch how they step in, right? Watch where they look first. You're going to notice all these little details about the person you're holding pads for, and that's going to help you a lot when you're actually sparring or fighting, okay? So you don't have to do this for a long time, but hold pads throughout your training, and you'll learn a lot about fighters just from being there in front of them and holding the pads for them, and that's going to help you a lot of reading opponents. Now, there's different signs or tell signs. There's people that drop their hands or go out wide. There's people that bang their hands. Like some fighters, before they jab and I'm holding the pads, they'll go like, every time I tell them to jab, okay? Some other fighters, before they jab, they drop their hand, they shake it out, and then they jab. Before they throw the right hand, they'll be here. Then when you tell them to throw the right hand, they'll go like this. Now, this is beginner stuff, but this is going to help you translate it into the higher level. But you got to notice the obvious things first, and then you start seeing the less obvious things, okay? So watch yourself when you're in the mirror. Hold pads for your people in your gym. You don't have to get paid. It's going to help you more than getting money. Watch for those signs, and then you could start translating them. Okay, so I told you guys a couple: shaking the hands before punching. Another one is banging the gloves together. Another one is they'll be still, then they'll start moving their hands before they punch. Another one is the eyes. They'll look where they're going to throw. So they'll look at their stomach before they go to the body. They'll look at the head before they throw the right hand, right? Now, this is something, this is one of the most obvious tell signs, is where they're looking. So what I like to do is just dead stare into the chin. Okay, I don't look at their face. I don't look at anything else. I only look at their chest, and I don't look where I'm going to punch. So if I'm here, I'm jabbing to the head, or right hand, or 1-2, or body shot. I'm keeping my eyes focused on one point, because when I'm focused on that one point, they don't know where I'm going to throw, because I'm just always focused there. But if I follow my punches, if you start following your punches with your eyes, it's going to bring your head up, your chin up, and it's going to show where your punch is going. So if I'm staring you in the eyes, then I'm looking down here. You don't need that. When you become better, you could just look in the center of your opponent, and you already know where your punch is going. You don't have to trace it with your eyes. Now, this is a great way to not let your opponent know what you're going to do. But now I'm going to use that as an advantage. So instead of dead staring in the chest, I'm going to look at you in your eye. I'm going to look you in your eyes, and I'm going to hit you in the body. I'm going to look you at the body, hit you in the head. And that's how you use that to your own advantage. So that's the thing I want to tell you guys about telltale signs, is when you become good and you know how to use it. So basically, like I said about the right hand, a beginner or someone a little bit more advanced, they might have a tick about their right hand. They might lift it up higher before they throw it. They might go wide, right? So you know that you don't want to do that, right? So you want to keep your right hand tucked and just throw it out without any tell signs, right? But now I want to throw my left hook. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to keep my right hand calm because I'm not taking your attention away from the hook. I'm going to start moving my right hand away and looking at your head and then throw the hook, right? So you use signs or telltale signs to your own advantage when you understand them first. But before you start doing that, you got to see all your ticks, all your telltale signs, get rid of them, know how to control them, and then you could start using them to your own advantage, right? But if you don't do that first, you won't know how to use them to your own advantage, basically, right? So learn how to not have any tell signs when you're sparring or fighting, just like a robot that has no expression, just looking at one spot. Once you could develop that type of style or that type of calmness and attention to your own self, then you could start using ticks. So I might start shaking my left hand, right? Shaking my left hand, boom, and then come in with the right hand, right? So that's how you start using it to your advantage. It's another one. Dropping the hands before punching. But yeah, you kind of want to get rid of all your ticks first, and you only do that by looking at yourself in the mirror, shadow boxing, studying film of yourself, and yeah. And then once you learn how to not fight with ticks, then you could start adding them and using them to your own advantage. Hold pads for your newer or new people in your gym or advanced fighters even, and watch them as they throw their own punches and study their own ticks. And then when you spar or fight, you'll start seeing those same movements before someone throws a punch, so you could become better at predicting. And yeah, so that's ticks for you, is learn how to first read yourself, then you could read your opponents. Okay, have a great day.